I think we arrive. Yes, 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 yes. Hey everyone. This is another stream. This is day two where I'm starting to stream my journey building my tech startup, and this is basically another stream, and I will not be sharing what I'm working on now today as in form of code. If you remember previously, I was working on dockerizing my backend that is written in Java. And in my previous stream, I've been struggling to get my Docker Compose up and running. So, so this you have to know that this was the existing Quarkus Java application that was running. So and I wanted to port it to the Docker. So the reason being is that in my plan, I'm planning to leverage Kubernetes in order to provide a high availability for my backend services. And by doing that, the first step is to have the Docker, and the second step was the second reasons was to make sure that I can be able to provide. If I onboard a new developer, which maybe not is not going to happen tomorrow, is to onboard a new developer as quickly as possible, because there is multiple things you need to configure manually, especially when you're dealing with Java. You need to configure the Java home variables, you need to download SDK and so forth. So I wanted to remove that in question. Then I realized when you're building a startup as a solo entrepreneur, what you need to do is not to be more sophisticated when you're starting. So that's why I stopped it from the previous stream, because like I was realized that I was heading to the wrong path. Yes, it's necessary, and yes, it's something that is needed, but it's not serving me the purpose that I need to achieve right now, which is to get my product up and running and getting the paying customer as much as soon as possible. Talking about the customer, so I wanted to discuss about having customer in the context of Africa, because uh, uh, for past 5 years I've been trying to build startups, and I would not say that I have succeeded yet, but I still have a hope that I can build a product that user use and have a lot of attentions and retentions from the customers. But there is one problem that every software founder in Africa will face, with no questions. One is a denial. Second is the purchasing power of your customers. So I want to first tackle the first point, which is denial. You see, it's very, very tricky to get your product trusted by the fellow Africans. And this is going to be a really bad things for you, for any startup. So you need to, because like when you get your product there and it's working, there's no problem. For the customer to buy your things, they will first ask you who built this, and wait until they find out that it's you who built this product. The lack of trust immediately show. So the customer doesn't have much trust that you can build a tech product and he can rely on that tech product. I think this has something to deal with the history of Africans and how the tech product comes to African continent. I think one of it is that we are used to free software as services. We have Google services that are free everywhere. We have Facebook, we have WhatsApp, and everywhere. So in our mind, we're not thinking that the software should be paid, because we used to this more sophisticated software that we use in daily basis, and therefore we don't have trust about the product we are building. that our fellow Africans are building. So that denial, that is the first thing. So the second thing is purchasing power. So let's say that you want to charge a user on monthly basis the right amount that will sustain you and your product. So what is the right amount that you would charge for the user so that he will not churn away from your services? And that is going to be the tricky question, because if you charge so high, may not so high, but if you charge the decent amount that is equivalent to the services you're providing, then you're not sure that this amount uh, they will afford it anyway. So now you'll be forced to down price to the amount that you're selling with others, which in the end will not be able to sustain you, keep the business running, and so forth. So I wanted to discuss about that, the challenges I'm facing. So those are the challenges I'm facing right now as a solo entrepreneur building a solution uh, for for massive usage. So my plan is to have people downloading my application either via Google Play or Windows Store, and for user to use, they need to activate subscription, and by activating subscription, then they start paying right away before they use the product. So as you can tell, that will be hard to get the customer in the first place, because first of all, subscription, automation is something that is still experimental in African context, because you will find that most payment processors are not so fluent in terms of recurring subscriptions. I've tried a couple of payment um, options available. Some of them have recurring feature per se, but require some extra informations when dealing with cards. Things like OTP, which is really in our context, it's really hard to get OTP from the user, because sometimes the phone number used on a card or Visa or MasterCard cards provided is not active, or if it's inactive, it's a phone number that's no longer, it's not the main contact. So like if the user authorized that, so he will go from at least three links, or like three links, in order to complete the cycle of making authorization to the payment. And this frustrates me actually, because like, I don't know, I've used services like Google, like Stripe, paying PayPal, paying other people from the West, and every time I use them, they just don't ask me the OTP things. They just ask me the card number and the CVC, and that's all. Then they take money. So I understand maybe that has something to do with the regulations and the company or where it is working from. I believe if Google, for example, have an office in one of the African country, then maybe it will also force the user to have OTP. But OTP, in sense, is just something that is so hard to get it from the user, and to authorize the recurring subscriptions. So I'm still exploring other options that can be more reliable than cards, and also other option that can be more efficient than cards, because like most people don't even know how to use the cards, Visa cards or Mastercard. So they have those cards, but they don't know how to use it on internet purchases. And even if they do, it's really hard to trust the internet that you're going to put your cards there and no one is going to steal your money. So that is the major concerns people really have, which is understandable. because in most cases these cards are linked to the bank account, in which they have this worry that if they give you their card, you can take the money anytime, anywhere, which is really a valid concern. So that's a challenge that I was facing. So another challenge I'm facing right now, as you have seen in my previous videos, I'm building the backend, and that means I also have front end, which is the mobile application and desktop application. So one of the challenges I'm having is that on front end side is that sometimes I face the issue where I need to wait for the package to have a certain feature I'm looking for. So this has something to do with the maturity of the packages I'm using, but that's only option I have. So, for example, the database, like if I'm using database on, there's a database that can be available on Android that is not available on iOS. So I need to now have two database that to solve that problems. So it's really hectic and it's really not easy to get around and make sure that my services work. So another issue I'm facing is the DevOps side. So I reluctantly implemented it actually because it's really a lengthy process. But it's that crucial part I don't want to overlook right now. So it's something I need to do right now. So this involves, deploying the application to Google Play, deploying the application to the server, and so forth. Right now, I've managed to get my application automatically deployed to every push, but there is something I'm fixing right away, which is make sure that the integration testing is completed before I merge and push to the Google Play. And this is really crucial for me because I wanted to make sure that nothing is broken because I block my application several times. The time when I feel confident that nothing is broken, it is the right time where something is broken. It's really funny how it is. But when I feel like something's broken, that's when something is not broken. So now to solve that, I'm implementing the smoke testing that is going to act as a real user, do all the scenarios that a user would do on my app, and test everything. Then once that is done, if it's success, then deploy the application wherever it's need to be deployed. Right now, I managed to automate all of that DevOps side, which is I think is crucial. Please let me know if you want to know how I have achieved that in my next videos, because I think it's something that someone can learn a thing or two. It took me almost a decent good amount of time. So I don't want to mention how much time it took me because that can be crazy. But it took me a lot of time to figure out how to interact with GitHub or Actions, how to interact with other services I'm using to deploy my application to the right environment and so forth. And I think it's really nice how I've done it. I think it's per se the best industry standard you can find on the market right now. So I think it's really really nice. Yeah, so what I'm working on now, right now I'm chasing some contracts with some partners that will offer me different services. I'm chasing those contracts. So that would be something that we'll work on. And another things I'll focus on, I'm focusing on now is to get one integration completed. So I will mention that integration I'm working on with another institutions that I also don't want to mention right now because I'm still working on getting that integration completed, and that will be major milestone for my startup once I complete the integration with that organization, because it will give me an edge on my application and how to get the customer right away. It's really amazing to see if we'll be able to complete the integration and make sure that I get the approval from their side so that I can confirm that the integration is complete. So once that is complete, I will move ahead and now start the market validation. So I think I've completed the market validation, but what I need now is to make sure that now I get paying customers. So I used to have few paying customers, but due, due to that lack of the integration I mentioned, it's it didn't work out. So like the customer trend, and it was really also expensive to maintain the customer because he lived in the countryside. So that was one of the learning experiences that I encountered, and I think I'm proud of that because I learned how the customer really think and behave and so forth. So I wanted to give you update of what I've been working on now, and maybe also provide you update. See you next time.